westbound. And you can see the car basically just kind of moving slowly away from us, block by block by block. We're going to keep an eye on it. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's actually moving its way southbound towards the 105 freeway. So we're going to be on Hoover, I believe it is. You can see LAPD, there you go. First unit's getting behind it right there. Usually they're going to wait for backup, and then they're going to turn on their lights and sirens after the backup gets there. But because of the issues that they've been having with the vehicle, they might do it a little bit farther. Now we're working our way westbound. 106, the original want for this vehicle, speed. Honda Civic started up in the Newhall area, so you can think like the 118-405 area. And it was California Highway Patrol originally in the pursuit, and now it seems like LAPD is going to be picking it up.
So, Stu, at one point in time, this was over 100 miles per hour that this suspect vehicle was going, correct?
Oh, most definitely, Jeff. And at one time, it was doing about 90 miles an hour on Rinaldi. And if you know that in the valley, Rinaldi, it's a straight street. It parallels the 118, but it is still kind of a residential street. You can see the LAPD behind that vehicle right now. I'm going to try to get you some streets here in just a second. We're kind of paralleling coming up on Imperial, and you can see this vehicle. He's been on the freeways, a lot on the freeways, seems to enjoy the freeways. Right there, that's going to be Imperial, so we're going to be passing through Imperial right there. 105 freeway is going to be next. LAPD, they have got two vehicles behind it. Don't know if they're going to light this guy up and turn it back into a full pursuit, or they're going to go into tracking mode. But at any rate, this is the vehicle from earlier this evening that was moving extremely high speeds, and it looks like we're going to be getting onto the 105 freeway. Again, I would be guessing maybe that was Western. Don't quote me on that. But definitely going to be working our way eastbound on the 105 freeway.
And Stu, at what point did the ground units with the LAPD re-engage in this pursuit? Because I know for a while there were no ground units with them.
Well, they were actually behind him on the 110 freeway for a little bit. And then he got off the freeway. The helicopter actually picked it up, and the ground units seemed to have missed it. So that's how they didn't. They were behind him, but they never lit him up. They have the license plate from earlier on, so they knew that this was the vehicle. As soon as that helicopter from LAPD got overhead, turned on that night sun, he really started to move on the surface streets. But by this time, he had given the cruisers, the LAPD cruisers, the slip. So they had to get some other units back into place. Those are the ones we see that are kind of behind them. But again, LAPD, they're going to want to stay a little bit farther behind. They don't have their lights and sirens on, but the helicopter is overhead. They're going to keep an eye on him, and hopefully they're just going to follow this guy to a point. Maybe he'll just get out of the car like he did before. They'll pound the vehicle, and then the owner's going to have to come pick it up. But right now, starting back with these high speeds on the freeway, again, it seems like it's not that big of a deal, but when you're going 100 and something miles an hour, you're looking over your shoulder, a little bit paranoid, other drivers not expecting it. Believe me, this is a dangerous situation. Law enforcement, they have to weigh it. They have to say how much danger do we want to put the public in? How much danger is the public in? And of course, how much danger we want to put our law enforcement in. Right now, though, moving about 80, 90 miles an hour, eastbound 105 freeway. We'll get you some cities here in just a moment.
Yeah, and that's not even to mention that this is at night, and of course you're going 100 plus miles an hour. You got the traffic in there, and you got people that might not be able to see, when it comes to 100 miles per hour, and you're going in the darkness here. It might be one of those things. You see this driver pretty aggressive, Susie, going all the way from the left-hand lane, the fast lane, all the way over, almost looking like they were going to exit the freeway, then back over to the left again, merging in and out of traffic at a pretty high rate of speed. At one point in time, it was going over 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. This all started in Newhall. Now, I understand that the police aircraft missed him and lost this driver when they were in restricted airspace over Dodger Stadium at one point in time. They were able to pick this vehicle back up, and that's where we are now, going eastbound on the 105.
And this has kind of been their MO for the entire pursuit since we picked it up just before 9:30 this evening, is kind of slipping police officers and also going in the emergency lane at a high rate of speed, just swerving around cars, even in residential areas. We saw at one point, I know we have video of it, of the driver making a really wide turn almost crashing into another car, but they barely missed him. Again, this started in the Granada Hills area, in the residential area of Granada Hills. There were some ground units chasing this pursuit at one point, and then they kind of backed off after they lost him. And then there was a point in a neighborhood where he went inside we don't know if actually it's a woman or a male driver at this point, but the driver went into a neighborhood where it was pretty dark, and we lost him at one point for a second there, Stu.
Yeah.
Susie, Jeff, that for sure, but he got back in the vehicle. He seems to feel a little safer in that car, but he's not making a very safe situation for the folks around him, and that's the issue this evening. Still eastbound on the 105, approaching the 710 already. So we made our way basically in and out of the Linwood area, getting into the, it's going to be coming up on Long Beach here, East Compton, if we keep this up. So 710 is where we're going to be right about now. This vehicle's still moving along. You were talking about it too, Jeff. You were saying every lane for sure. Center threading the needle, moving in and out. Emergency lanes at some point. I was kind of hoping maybe he'd pick up a nail or something, some debris when he was in that emergency lane just to give himself a flat tire, like a self-imposed spike strip. Hasn't happened. This vehicle continuing to move, though, very quickly, about 95 miles an hour. That light that you're seeing right there, that is going to be the LAPD. They're in tracking mode. They might hand this off to the California Highway Patrol because you're staying on the freeway. California Highway Patrol, they kind of want to get this guy pulled over that was theirs to begin with, gave him the slip. Maybe it's a little prideful, but these guys are professionals. This guy is breaking the law. You can see it right there, getting into this one of the spots where cars are around him, kind of pushing his way through there. Very dangerous situation for sure. Car moving about 95 miles an hour this evening, and now speeding up again just a little bit as we're working our way into the Downey area. Anybody that drives the 105 knows the 105 is going to be coming to an end here at the 605 shortly. He's going to have to make a decision. Got plenty of options. But let's hope it keeps it at least to minimum speeds, and hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, let's bring you up to speed real quick here for the KCAL Night viewer. This is a pursuit of a driver wanted for speeding. This is a silver Honda Civic that you see there in the center part of your screen, going to way above the speed limit, 95, 100 plus miles per hour. And you can see some pretty aggressive driving, swerving from the left to the right lane, in and out of traffic. We understand that this police know who this car is registered to, but they do not know if that's the driver or not. Once again, Susie, this is LAPD Pursuit. They have an airship above, and this is a driver wanted for speeding.
It all started in the residential area of the Granada Hills area, the Newhall area Stu was mentioning. It was on the 118 freeway at one point, and also on the 5 freeway. We went through the cities of Burbank and Griffith Park and through Elysian Park. Looks like he's getting off an off-ramp right now. Are we still in the Downey right now, Stu?
We are definitely coming in the Downey area for sure. Let's get you some streets here in just a moment.
Back on.
U-turn. Wow. U-turns seem to be one of his favorite things to do. Mm-hmm. You can see one of the vehicles right there. I'm going to get a little bit. That is the California Highway Patrol and LAPD above it. So this is they've got their ducks in a row this time. That vehicle making that sharp U-turn. He was doing that earlier on this evening a lot on surface streets in the Granada Hills area. So now working his way back onto the 105 freeway, working his way back westbound. But California Highway Patrol, lights and sirens behind him. It's going to give the public a little bit heads up what's going on. And, of course, that night sun as well. Let's see if they keep this. They're going to keep it in their sights this time, I'm sure. Hopefully he's not going to do anything that's going to be too crazy, and hopefully nobody's going to get hurt. High speeds is what this vehicle is wanted for, and he's definitely been proving that over and over again. 2000-something Honda Civic is what it is, 4-door. Again, the only thing they wanted this guy was for speed, so you got to wonder if there might be something else to this. Maybe the driver has some warrants. Maybe there's something else in the car. Maybe he's impaired. But high speeds is the reason why they wanted to pull this guy over. And, you know, a speeding ticket is a speeding ticket. Now this is so much more.
Yeah, we were, as I was mentioning, the driver went through the cities of Burbank, Griffith Park, and at Dodger Stadium and Elysian Park. We actually saw, we had to drive back away from the pursuit, because of flight restrictions above Dodger Stadium, because there is a game going on tonight. And that's when we were able to, after that, near the 110, we were able to get back on this pursuit. Stu, I understand earlier we were talking about the CHP, talking about possibly intercepting him at some point, getting ahead of the pursuit. Is that how they were able to find him again?
You know what? I'm not really sure exactly how they repicked this up. It was LAPD, somebody from LAPD with a good eye. Maybe this vehicle was still driving fast, but it was because of the license plate. And they picked this up on the 110 freeway south of the 105. So he had made his way south and was working his way back north again when they picked it back up. That little rope-de-dope that he did with those officers was on Manchester off the 110 freeway. But the helicopter was in place and actually saw the vehicle making those maneuvers, lit him up, and that's when the chase was kind of back on. And now with that helicopter, the LAPD helicopter calling out streets, the officers on the ground could keep up. Once he got back established back onto the freeways, now we're on the 105. Now it's back into the California Highway Patrol's hands. They have one unit behind this vehicle right now. You've really got to hand it to that one officer doing what he can. There's a second one right there, thank goodness. So he's got a little bit of backup right now, but this vehicle continues to use all lanes, emergency lanes included, squeezing between, making his own lanes like right there. And that is what the problem is. This is the reason why they want to bring this to a stop. High speeds, it would have been a speeding ticket. Now it's going to be so much more. Again, you have to understand, this started all the way up in the Granada Hills area, maybe Porter Ranch. Now we're down South Los Angeles, Linwood area, 105 approaching the 110 already. So it gives you an idea how quickly this car is moving this evening.
Yeah, the center of your screen, there's that silver Honda Civic. That driver behind the wheel wanted for speeding, that's it. And that began around 9:30. Police put on the reds and blues, and that driver did not pull over. And then we are, at this point in time now, we're on the highway. This is East 105, over 100 miles per hour. The speed limit that he is taking, of course, is posted speed limit there's probably around 65. It's always interesting when you see these pursuits. The driver who's breaking all these rules still has the frame of mind to use the turn signal when they are changing lanes, which is odd to me. But this driver, it appears, doesn't even have the nighttime running lights on. It appears like it's just the daylight running lights, because you see it next to the other cars. It's not as bright of a headlight as the ones. So you wonder if that's not even that person's car. If they don't know what they're, this is, maybe they're hitting the turn signal because they're not very familiar with this vehicle. We know that the police have said that they know who this car is registered to. We don't know if that's the person behind the wheel.
Could be a stolen car.
Could be a stolen car. It's got to be something more than speeding, you would think, because why wouldn't you stop for the police if it's, just a speeding infraction? But this is obviously a lot more than that. As we continue to follow this pursuit on the West 105 freeway, I believe it's going eastbound, and this is now in Linwood.
Yeah, that's right. And this is, still a lot of questions, as you were mentioning, Jeff. There's so many question marks tonight. At what point is this person going to run out of gas? And Stu was mentioning he's going 100 plus miles per hour, has definitely gone through many on the 118 freeway, the 5 freeway, the 110 freeway, the 105. Civic going to be running Civic. I don't know how long that person is going to be lasting.
I do want to correct myself real quick. This is the westbound 105. I mentioned the eastbound. It's right there on your screen, West 105 freeway. Again, this is a silver Honda Civic. The driver wanted for speeding.
Yeah, what else are they running from? If this was just a matter of speeding, if this was the initial want, then, why are they running? You got to ask that question as well. We don't know if this person is alone. We don't know if the driver is alone, if they have passengers with them. We also don't know if this person is armed.
It's amazing when you get the picture like that and you come out of focus a little bit, you can see just how fast that car is going. When it's up close and you see him passing vehicles, it's not as impactful as when you take a look. Now we got 3 CHP units behind. You see the airship as well, which is LAPD. And at one point in time, there was just CHP and LAPD was just following. So now this is a full on pursuit, I believe, and you'll see 3 units behind. You see the car. See how fast it's going? Yeah. And, of course, the night sun is being provided by the helicopter and LAPD.
Yeah, let's go back up to Stu Mandel, live in Sky 9. Stu.
Well, northbound 110 freeway is our location right now, probably past Century already. I just heard him call out the Century off-ramp coming up on Manchester. Now, Manchester's where he got off a little earlier on. Don't know if he's familiar with that area. Don't know if he was just kind of wondering if he could maybe give these guys the slip. Definitely seems like he's really pulling over to the right. So you got that sound wall right there. So maybe we're going to be doing Manchester one more time. It does appear he's getting back off on Manchester. So perhaps familiar with this area. Sound wall right there. We'll get a shot of him as he makes his way around right there, which won't be long because he is moving very quickly. Working his way to the head of the line and running a red light. Crossing in front of a bunch of people right there. Manchester, that's the 110 freeway, going to be working his way westbound. But he's been on a lot of other roads. He's been on a lot of other freeways. Now, just because he's gotten off the freeway, northbound Figueroa from Manchester, just because he's gotten off the freeway doesn't mean automatically that CHP just goes, oh, we're done. LAPD, it's yours. They're going to stay behind this for a bit. They might hand it off. They might not. That's all in all the politics of the law enforcement. Right now, though, I'm worried about red lights. I'm worried about small neighborhoods. We saw some people standing out on the streets earlier on. This vehicle came very close to pedestrians. If he doesn't know this neighborhood,
let's see what happens here.
Just came to a stop. That is it.
Okay, his hands are out. That's a good sign. Police are probably instructing him to throw the keys out the window.
Bizarre. That's after all that and running around, he just kind of comes to a stop. But, Jeff, you are very right about that. The keys have not come out. He has played this game before. But right now, hands are out, weapons are out from California Highway Patrol. This was a very high-speed pursuit, weaving in and out, lots of strange goings-ons. Right now, though, doors open, so it does seem like this is the first time we're going to see that suspect besides his white socks from earlier on. Getting out, he seems like he's complying. Thank goodness nobody got hurt. And great work for law enforcement. You have to understand. One of LAPD's one of their guys on the ground saw this car, realized that was the plate. I mean, what kind of that is incredible work on that officer's part, and the pursuit was back on. They had lost it for a good 15 minutes at least, and it made it. The last locations we saw it was up by Dodger Stadium. They picked it up south of the 110 freeway 105. This suspect now complying. And it does seem like they're going to be taking him into custody. And, of course, they're going to have to check the car. No officers injured, no civilians injured, and actually no damage to any other vehicles as well.
And it doesn't look like anyone else is inside the car, right?
Well, they're always going to check the trunk, but it definitely, I would say 99% chance that vehicle is clear. We didn't see anybody earlier on when the car stopped, the doors popped open. They would have had to left that person in there. But they have to go through their motions. They have to do what they do to make sure that they are safe, and also check that trunk. Gosh only knows if maybe somebody might be in that trunk. We haven't never seen it, but there's a first time for everything.
Okay, as police go through that vehicle, you can see the suspect is in custody. This is the end of LA's latest pursuit of a driver wanted for speeding. As we continue to follow this here on KCAL 9, let's get to some other news, however. Heartbreak and tears tonight as the community gathers to remember a young boy. He was killed while crossing the street in front of his home. And neighbors tonight say this is a dangerous street and they want something done.
That's right. KCAL 9's Rachel Kim is live tonight in Pomona, where family and friends are showing their support and frustration. Rachel.
Yeah, Susie and Jeff, Damian Bonilla was hit and killed behind me on a normally busy Foothill Boulevard, not too far away. You can still see some balloons people brought to a vigil tonight to remember the 12-year-old. A grieving mother is comforted by the warmth of the community surrounding her tonight. 12-year-old Damian Bonilla